Tucked away in his studio that overlooks the quiet streets and gingerbread houses,
Well, I took the photo and then I did a pencil drawing.
Joseph Craig English works on his latest creation.
I just got kind of a nice energy here with Harper at bat and Zimmerman on deck.
The Washington Grove artist captures the energy of the Washington region with his vivid prints. His work is easy to recognize.
And this is just called dark green, but it has a lot of blue in it.
English, who goes by Craig, has a distinctive style with bright colors, and he's found a niche by capturing scenes of local life.
Well, it was fresh cider, and it was, I'm going to say it's up $3.55.
Yeah, we used to get our apple cider from our open studio every year. I mean, for like 30 years, we got them from those guys. My work is driven by color. Red is one of the colors that I have, one of the 9 colors I use in my palette. So I'm always looking for interesting juxtaposition of color. That's what grabs my eye, or something that gives me the opportunity to maybe exaggerate a little bit, because all my work is an exaggeration of the real.
English likes to tell the story of becoming interested in art at a young age. Though his father thought he'd play baseball, it was his mother who had the premonition that he would become an artist.
And my mom really encouraged me to paint and draw, and I was much better at art than I was at baseball. And so it had kind of a natural evolution for me. And I've always loved making art and never envisioned myself as ever being anything else but an artist.
In 1972, he began working for an ad agency in Chevy Chase while selling his silkscreens on the side.
Thank you very much.
In 1974, he took a leap of faith and left that job to sell his art full-time.
Well, thank you so much for coming out. It's great seeing you.
One day, he and his wife took a wrong turn on their way to Montgomery Village and ended up in Washington Grove, where they were greeted by one of the town residents.
And he flagged us down, and he said, "Are you visitors?" And I said, "Yeah, we're lost." And he said, "Well, let me tell you about Washington Grove." And it happened to be, it was Phil Edwards. He was the mayor at the time. And he knew all the history, and he told us all the history. And we were just enchanted. And we said, you know, maybe we should try to find a house here. And this house came up for sale. And I didn't want to have anything to do with it because it was painted bright bubblegum pink. And the entire, we came and we looked at it, and the entire inside was turquoise. And it just, it offended my artistic sensibility so badly. And my wife was in love with it. She said, "Oh, this is a great house." And I looked at the lot. We were on a dead-end street in the woods, and I thought, wow, this is a wonderful place.
Over the 42 years he's lived in Washington Grove, Craig English has expanded his home to include the studio where he creates his paintings. English says living in Washington Grove has allowed him to flourish as an artist. These look like your neighborhood here that you...
These are my neighbors' homes in back in 2000.
The commute is a flight of steps from his home to his studio.
Works so beautifully, and it's relaxing working here. We're in the woods, and then I can walk out. I've got 95 acres of woods behind the house that the town owns. I can walk out into the woods and decompress, but that's not something I really ever need to do here. I'm really happy. I really enjoy what I'm doing, and it's a great neighborhood.
The technique English uses to create his art is called serigraph. It's silkscreen painting using a stencil. Each color must be applied with a separate screen.
For me, a lot of it is a serendipitous sort of thing. I was just out in the back of the studio in the woods, and it was early morning, and the sun was coming up, and it came right through the leaves, and it lit the leaves up almost like they were stained glass. And I couldn't believe how beautiful the color was. And if I had a composition I really liked, I would sketch the whole thing out in pencil. And once I have a pencil drawing, I use that as my pattern. I make a tissue overlay, and I color it in with magic marker. And that gives me an image which I think will represent what my finished piece is going to be.
Craig English takes his artwork on the road to 17 shows a year throughout the D.C. area, and he estimates he sells close to 900 pieces of art per year.
I got one of your prints. I love the skier, the one that you donated for.
Oh yeah, great.
Oh, I love it.
Fresh powder?
Fresh powder,
Yeah.
and I love it. It's in the center of my family room.
That's exciting.
Beautiful.
One of the local spots where you can find his work is at Framer's Gallery in the Kentlands,
Oh, he's probably one of our best sellers.
Really?
where we met up with Councilmember Sidney Katz, a big fan of the artist.
In many cases, it's the pictures that you think will never change. There's no need to take that picture because Montgomery Donuts is always going to be in that spot and everybody's going to see it, and now it's not. And so thank goodness somebody captured it and it's hanging in somebody's home somewhere, or many homes in places. So that's just a neat thing to have happen.
Purple is an interesting color. It seems to make all the other colors look better.
And over the
I don't
years,
know
Craig
why,
English
but
has
I know
commissioned
that it
several
works.
pieces of art, most recently for County Executive Ike Leggett of the Montgomery County Youth Orchestra.
And so I took pictures of the Montgomery County Youth Orchestra, and I did a piece of Strathmore, of the music hall, with little insets of all the kids playing different instruments. And it's kind of like the United Nations, because you can see that the kids are from all over the world. But the fact that their families have chosen to live in Montgomery County is fantastic, because it shows our diversity and the incredible talent pool we have here, which is very exciting.
The county executive takes English's prints and gives them out as gifts to dignitaries who visit Montgomery County to remind them of the diversity and talent that's here. English will tell you he doesn't have a particular favorite piece of work. He says he enjoys it all.
I've got a real intuitive sense of what's going to work and what's not going to work after all these years. So, you know, I work it up and I get excited about it, and then people say, well, what's your favorite? Well, it's like choosing between your kids. You know, I mean, some people might have a favorite kid, but I don't.